Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be back. I'm just going to get this streaming properly here. Give me just a moment. Okay. Taking a second. All right. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be back and to be here with you today to talk all about the value of the PMP certification. I am so grateful for those of you who are tuning in with me live today as we discuss all about the PMP certification. We are going to dive in and talk about what it is for those of you who are maybe new to understanding and learning about the certification. We'll talk about why you should get the certification. And then we are going to dive in and talk a little bit about whether or not the certification would be worth it to you and the type of ROI you can personally get from the certification. And today I'm going to share my specific example and the ROI that I received, just so you can kind of get a sense of maybe what you could expect. And I have a little calculator that I'll pull up, and for those of you who want to calculate what that looks like for you, I'd be happy to share that calculator so you can do the math on your own and see, what your future could look like by taking this one test, and also look and see, the cost of taking no action and what kind of money you're leaving on the table by not sitting for the exam. Because I think that's also an important thing to look at. So I'm really excited to be back. I'm so excited and so passionate about this topic just because it has changed the trajectory of my career and my life. And I hope that it can do something similar for you. So without further ado, let's jump in. So the project management certification is the gold standard in project management. And what I mean by that is there is no other higher level of competence that you can get in project management. The highest thing there is the PMP certification. Sure, you could go get a degree, and that might be helpful. But one of the reasons why the project management certification that PMI authorizes, and that's the Project Management Institute, is because it is a practitioner certification. And what that means is you not only are taking a test to prove that you have a certain level of knowledge of this topic and mastery, but you're also being able to demonstrate that you have worked on a project. So I could go and say, hey, I want to learn how to do coding, and maybe I learned to do coding in the classroom, but as an employer, somebody who's hiring me, you don't know if I've actually done that in the real world. If I have worked with a company, if I actually have practical experience, can I actually be considered a practitioner? And what the PMP does is it validates that you have that couple years of experience depending on your education level, but also that you have met the requirements and really mastered the skills in these different areas of domain to be considered a project management professional. And that's why this certification is held at such a high regard. Now, I often get asked, What about the Google certification? What about this Udemy course? I think that any type of education that you get to improve your knowledge in any area of any topic is always like super great. I am a huge advocate of education, formal, non-formal, self, education, and so forth. However, when it comes to project management, nobody cares about the Google certification. Nobody cares about your Coursera certification. Can you use it strategically to show that you are a self-starter and that you want to learn and become an expert in a certain area of interest? Absolutely. It can be used strategically, and I've helped a lot of students be able to do that. But when you are looking at the job boards, when you are looking to land a job, get a promotion, the PMP is the only thing that matters. They want to see that you have this credential and that you have some experience, which the certification, again, is a practitioner certification. So as much and as great as those other certifications are, if you're going to invest your time, your money, and your energy, it might as well be in something that's going to get you recognized. It's going to get you noticed. It's going to open doors for you. And it's going to give you the confidence that you have all this knowledge and expertise. So the PMP is far superior to anything that I'm aware of in the industry. And it's an industry that I've been in. And I think that I can confidently say this because I have a degree, a couple degrees actually, in business focusing on project management. And I do not think that either of those have opened the amount of doors and given me the amount of opportunities like the project management certification has. And we'll talk a little bit about that more once we get to the ROI and we start exploring that a little more. You'll see an example of what it did for me, and I hope that that'll further illustrate why the PMP is so valuable. Hi, Alicia. Thanks for joining me live today. If anybody else is joining me live, feel free to say hi, and if you're here for the replay, let me know. So why should you get the project management certification? There are a number of reasons why, and I want to talk through the obvious and the not so obvious reasons. Because obviously, if this is something that you're considering doing, you should know the value that it brings. You need to make the best decision for you, make the decision when you think it's right for you, the time it's right for you, all of that. So some of the obvious, you can get a bump in your salary. So the average professional gets a 32% increase in their salary as a result of getting their project management certification. This is an average in the United States only. If we're looking just from a global perspective, it's, I think, a little less. It's like 27%. And the PMP is globally recognized, which is another reason why it's held at such a high regard. It's a universal language. So I'll throw that in there as well, because that's important to note. So salary increase, it shows that you're an expert, which is always nice. It makes you more marketable. So when you're out there looking for a job, if somebody sees that you have your PMP certification, you're more likely to get reached out to by a headhunter, a hiring manager, a recruiter for somebody else who doesn't. If you're applying for a job, you're simply going to have your resume on the top of the stack, looked at way before everybody else. So it gives you a leg up in the game. Now, does this mean that because you have your PMP, you're a better project manager? No, I know plenty of project managers who haven't got certified, and I think they're fabulous. But if you can have a leg up in the game and you can reap all these other wonderful benefits that are going to help you in your career, then to me, it's a no-brainer. The PMP can also, of course, give you recognition in your workplace and in the industry, which is, fabulous, especially, as women, we want to stand out against our, male counterparts. So if there's something that we can do to show that we have confidence, we are knowledgeable, and to get a little more recognition for the work that we do, then by all means, it's worth it. Again, this is just one test that you have to take to get all of this. I know a lot of other women get their project management certification because you can find flexible roles and more versatile roles. So, when you get your PMP certification, this means that you know different methodologies, waterfall, agile. So when we look at a Scrum certification, we are simply getting expertise in agile only. The PMP helps us have these broad skill sets where we can work in either methodology and be considered an expert. It'll help us, stand out. And with these more versatile roles, we can pivot if we need to, because we can step into any industry. The role of a project manager doesn't really change. Yes, if we're working in tech, we may have more of a tech background. We may learn new things on the job to help us have discussions with our stakeholders, but we could easily pick up and go do something else, because managing a schedule, looking at our risks and determining which ones we want to mitigate or exploit and so forth, that's just the same all around. And we have subject matter experts that we can lean on. So we have that flexibility to go to different versatile roles, which is fantastic. If we get bored in one area, we can pivot quite easily. And these skills are so transferable that we could walk ourselves into a completely different role if we want to, because we are so good with people. We are so good with communication and organization, and all of these skills that are so beneficial in almost any other job. So it really is just a fantastic skill set to have, and to be able to have the cherry on top by also getting certified is just that much sweeter. Now, another thing that is important to note when I talk about flexibility is that a lot of women choose to get the certification because there are a lot of jobs that are remote, that are hybrid. You can get into contracting, consulting, freelancing very easily with this certification. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs seek out this certification to help them in their business. I've seen this be a track towards leadership for a lot of women. There are many CEOs that have their PMP or have been a project manager and use that as a way to climb up the corporate ladder. So I can't come up with, I can come up with so many reasons why you should do this versus why you shouldn't. And I truly believe that. I live it. I renew my certification every 3 years, make sure I never miss that date, truly because there's so much value there. Now, the value doesn't just solely lie in what it can do for you, but the certification also does so much for your employer. So if you are employed in a W-2 or in some kind of contract capacity, there is huge benefits for your employer. So your employer can charge more to the end customer because they have an expert like you. Your customer, or the company that you're at, the customers that you're serving will have confidence in your company because they know that there is somebody certified. So I don't know how many times I have been working with a customer at my job, and they have had such calmness and confidence knowing they had an expert on the other line, on the other side of the team managing the project. Projects are scary for people. Change is scary for people. And if they feel like they have confidence and comfort in an expert, that is huge for your customer, but it's also huge for your employer. They need to know that that is a selling point to customers. And that is something that you can remind your employer of, when you have some type of conversation about you getting the PMP, or once you get it and they ask, well, why? What's in it for me? These are things that you can share with them and help, communicate and demonstrate the value that you bring to the organization. It can get you out of just customer projects, but also open up doors to work in other places within the organization because you have such amazing skill sets that are so versatile. So I always like to throw that in there because a lot of times we're so focused on the value that the certification can give to us that we don't think about all of the indirect value that the certification brings as well. So we covered what the PMP is, and we covered why you should get it and some of the benefits of getting it. Now I want to jump into a calculator that I created, and I want to show you how the certification can help generate an income. So what kind of individual value can you get from the certification? So let me go ahead and zoom in. If you'd like a copy of this, please type calculator in the comments. That way I can get you a copy. And I'm just making sure this is showing up okay. All right. So I'm going to use figures that fit me when I took this exam 5-6 years ago. So at the time, I was making $72,000. I was like 5 years or so into my career, and I was making a base salary of $72,000. I'm not including any kind of other compensation like bonuses, stock options, or anything like that. Okay, so on average, like we talked about, the PMP is worth 32% increase, which would be a $23,000 raise if we're just going solely off averages and we're not taking into account any kind of bonus or other compensation. So for me, if I was thinking about getting the project management certification, to me, I could be looking at quite a nice increase in my salary. So what does that break down to? That breaks down to almost an extra $2,000 a month, or almost $900 per paycheck. Think about how that could change your life. What could you do with an extra $2,000 a month simply by taking one test? If you're someone who is considering the certification, but you're not taking action right now, this could be what you're leaving on the table. $23,000. Of course, if you're making more than I was at this point, that number is going to be a lot different. But it took me 8 months to take the test, to study, to prepare, and to pass on my first try. I could have been making an extra $2,000 a month. So I lost out on almost $16,000 by taking my sweet time and not having a plan to get my certification and to take it in a reasonable time frame. I left so much money on the table by taking no action or by taking slow action. Okay? So think about that. If you're someone who's putting off the certification because you're busy at work, because you have a vacation planned, because you're not sure if you can find the funds to invest in the PMP, think about what your investment could be versus how much you're missing out on. Not just a year, but per month or per paycheck. When I saw these numbers, I figured out a way to come up with the money. I put it on a credit card and I said, you know what? I will figure out a way to pay this off because I'm going to make quite a bit. And to be honest with you, I made more than the 32%. I made quite a bit more than this after getting my project management certification. When I went to freelancing for a while, and I ended up at a freelancing rate. So obviously you don't get benefits, so they tend to pay higher. It was closer to the 140 mark just by getting my PMP. When I decided to go back and to work a W-2 job, obviously there's benefits involved, so it's a lower rate. You know, it was closer to the 100 mark. So again, that would have been a little bit more than $30,000. So quite a bit more than 32% in each of those scenarios, simply by taking this one test. But my biggest regret was taking so long to get it, because I could have been making $2,000 extra a month or $1,000 extra per paycheck had I gotten the test, taken it quickly and passed. I could have found that new role that would have paid me these numbers. Now, let's go and take a step back. We see the value here of what the certification can do for us, but let's also look at what the return on investment looks like. So I personally paid $1,800 to prepare for the exam. That was a combination of books and a simulator and a boot camp and all, I think the exam fee and all of that. So I invested $1,800 to get my PMP. And after, taking into account my increase, mine was a little more, but we're going to use the average in this example. I was up $21,000. So I literally got an 1,100% return on my investment. Coming up with $1,800, putting it on a credit card, and saying, I will figure out a way to pay this off. Literally, I got my money back and then some. Tell me what kind of certification, degree, stock purchase, gambling, whatever you want to use will get you an 1,100% return. Talk about a great ROI. This was the best $1,800 I have ever spent. And I can confidently say that because I have my MBA and I'm still paying that off. I have not gotten anywhere close to an 1,100% return on my investment from my MBA. My PMP, I got that so quick because I was marketable, because I was confident, because I was an expert. I could talk the talk. I talked myself into a contract role that was making double what my current salary was. And even when I decided to go back and to get the benefits and to get all of that, I was still up over 30 grand. So there's no doubt in my mind when I recommend the project management certification, when I talk about how valuable it is, how it changed my life. This was what I was looking at. 5-6 years ago. And my career has only went up, only gotten better from here, because now I have more expertise and I have this certification, and it is so valuable. So think about this. Think about the cost of taking no action, how much you're leaving on the table every paycheck, every month by not taking any action, and realize that there's only one test that is standing in your way. So if you'd like a copy of this calculator to do the math on your own, in the comments, put calculator and I'll send this to you. Let me know what your ROI percentage is. After you put this in, you can estimate some of these numbers here. And type ready in the comments if you'd like to learn about some of the different options that the Women Leading Tech group offers to help you so that you can make this one test a walk in the park. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and your patience. It was so wonderful being here with you live, and I look forward to continuing to provide content throughout the week. Again, if you would like a copy of the calculator, type calculator. And if you want to know how to take action and make these numbers a reality for you, type ready in the comments below, and me or somebody from my team will reach out to you and see if you are a good fit for one of our many programs. Until next time, have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.